How you doing, everyone? Scott back again, this time to give my answers to the Metal Tag 2021. So most of you will know that I put out 20 questions, kind of like a vinyl tag, but really specifically for metalheads, just to get a bit deeper into our collection. And it's been really good seeing everyone's videos. So what I did was I put out the questions, but I never gave my answers in the same video. So this is going to be the answer video. So 20 questions, I'll try not to keep you too long. Number one, music spoiled by vocals. If I just actually organise this pile, I would have to go AC/DC. My main problem is Brian Johnson with AC/DC, and I know it's going to be a really unpopular opinion, but I just cannot get my head around AC/DC, Brian Johnson. It's just his voice is, it does not click with me at all. It grinds on me. I much prefer Bon Scott. I mean, I've kind of been a bit harsh with AC/DC in the past, but some of the music's really good. Like, Thunderstruck is an absolutely awesome song. It's got an awesome intro, but then Brian Johnson comes in and kills the whole thing. So, I know it's not on this album, but yeah, Brian Johnson, that just spoils AC/DC for me, really. Number two, an album you'll love that's let down by bad production. I picked Flotsam Jetsam and When the Storm Comes Down. It's a bit of a shame because the first two are so well regarded, and this isn't a bad album. It's actually a very, very good album, but it does have problems in the production. It just seems a little off balance. I can't actually remember how it goes. It's either the guitar sits kind of in the background, or the vocals sit back from the guitars, or it's something to do with that. But yeah, it just kind of lets it down. But that's not saying it's not got some amazing songs on it, because it does. It's a really, really solid album, but the production does let it down. So Flotsam Jetsam, When the Storm Comes Down. A band, no. Oh yeah, a band that suffers from a weak member. Maybe another controversial one, but listen to this album in the last couple of weeks, and it's Iron Maiden with Boys Bailey. It's so overwhelmingly obvious that he is the weak link in this band, and it's not surprising coming into, well, arguably the biggest metal band in the world. But do you know, when I was listening to this, I thought, do you know, it's not as bad as I thought it was musically, although it is a bit more in the minor key. It's the vocals. I think Blaze Bailey really struggles on this, and comparing it to Bruce Dickinson, it's just no contest. And you might say you can't compare the two, but you can, because they're singing for the same band, the biggest band, metal band in the world. So yeah, Blaze just does not come across well in this album for me. So he is my weak member. Number four, show an album that to you defines heavy. I remember listening to this album for the first time and thought, wow. And I just thought it was heavy as fuck. And it's Damage Plan and Newfound Power. Obviously with Dimebag Darrell. But yeah, I just remember putting it on for the first time and just thinking how heavy it was, and how it kind of really upped its game from Pantera. Now, Pantera can get pretty heavy, but this is just like I think a new level of heavy. So Damage Plan and Newfound Power. Show an album recommended to you by the music community. So I wasn't up on Christian metal when I first started watching videos and making videos. So the Christian scene was really really new to me when I started watching videos. And this was an album that kind of came up a lot and got a lot of praise. and it was Holy Soldier, their debut album, self-titled. And I don't care if it's Christian metal, I don't care what kind of religion it is. If it's good music, then I'm going to listen to it. I don't believe in anything, but I can listen to this. I know the Christian thing puts a lot of people off, but it doesn't put me off. This is just a phenomenal album. So if you're not too sure on Christian metal, I know like the likes of Striper could put a lot of people off, listen to this. It's awesome. So Holy Soldier, that was recommended to me by the music community. Number 6, show an album that takes your musical taste in a different direction. I chose Supertramp. Now, I'm kind of one of these guys who struggles with 70s classic rock and kind of early metal from the 70s, but for me the 70s are about something completely different. It's about pop music, it's about like soul music, Motown, that kind of stuff. I get a lot more of that stuff from the 70s than I do hard rock or metal. So Supertramp would be my choice. This is a band I turn to time and time again. Very catchy songs, just clever lyrics, and I just find they're quite unique. So I don't know why, I'm quite drawn to Supertramp. I just always find their songs really catchy, and I like their albums, so there we go. Okay, number 7, a hidden gem in my collection. I went for Phantasmagoria and Geisha. Now, this has been sitting in my inbox for probably about a year, and I've still not shown it yet. But this is a great album. I found these while, I think it was just surfing YouTube, and I found this band, and they're kind of like a mix of, they're mainly heavy metal, but they've kind of got that hair metal flair, as you can see. I mean, that's hair metal all over. But yeah, but it's I think this was in 1987 this was released. I'll just quickly check. I'm not sure. I think it's 1987. Oh yeah, it's 1987. But it sounds like it was recorded in like 1982. It's like really raw, it's really tinny, but it's just, you know, it's just that kind of stripped down metal that I really enjoy. So there we go. Phantasmagoria and Geisha. Check them out on YouTube if you've not heard them already. Like I said, I think they're Danish. Okay, number 8, the band in your collection that formed closest to where you live. Now, this is a rubbish question for me, so I don't know why I set it. Because I don't really own many albums or anyone from really Scotland, but the only one I could find was Gun. Gun formed in Glasgow, which is about half an hour, 40 minutes from where I am. You probably know Gun for their cover of Word Up, which is probably the best version of it, in my opinion. Cameo did it, obviously. Korn did it. Mel B did it, I think. But yeah, Gun. Hard rock from Scotland. Okay, number 9, an album you reach for melody-wise. There's a couple of albums I've picked out. Beast in Black, kind of power metal mixed with kind of synth pop, really heavy melodies, driving guitars. They really do complement each other. And although this looks like, well, I suppose it does look like more like a maybe traditional heavy metal album cover, it's really poppy but really heavy as well, if you know what I mean. So it's got great melodies running all the way through this album though, and their second album, so Beast in Black for that one. Okay, the album in your collection you would sell first. Oh, in fact, I've not picked this out yet. Okay, I'm back. So, what was the question again? The album in your collection you would sell first. Thin Lizzy, Black Rose. I just cannot get on board with Thin Lizzy. I've got a couple of Thin Lizzy albums for free, but do you know what? They do nothing for me. So that'd be on the chopping block first, I think. Thin Lizzy, Black Rose, no thank you. Okay, what subgenre of metal would you delete from existence? I would delete the stuff that that goes too far. I mean, you've got, obviously you do have extreme styles of metal, and that's great. Death metal, black metal, I know how people can appreciate that. Grindcore, but you know when it just gets silly when you think it just gets too extreme, and it's just extreme for the sake of it. Stuff like porno grind and just, you know, it's bad taste really, rather than anything. And it's not really like a popular subgenre, so I would just get rid of that because it's really kind of in bad taste. Like the whole thing just threw it. Number 12, the band artist you would most like to see an album or reissue from in 2021. So I would love to see another Judas Priest album. I mean, judging on Firepower, how it was so popular, how good it was, I mean, to beat that would take some doing, but it's good that they've got that kind of, that bar they've set themselves, so hopefully whatever they come out with next is going to be tremendous. Reissues, I'd love to see a reissue of the band Wildside, Under the Influence, because I don't think that's ever been re-released on vinyl. I think it's been reissued on CD by Rock Candy, but the vinyl, the OGs are in the hundreds, so I would love to see a reissue of that on vinyl. And probably Bang Tango and Psycho Cafe. That's an album I've always struggled to get on vinyl, so I wouldn't mind a little maybe colour variant of that. Number 13, which 80s metal act would you love to see a comeback album from? This was a hard one as well. Give me a second. I can't even prepare for my own questions. So I would go for Smashed Gladys. In fact, is this even 80s? This might be 90s. Surely not. Boom, knocked it out of the park, 88. Yeah, why not go for a bit of sleaze metal from Smash Gladys? Really shake the teenagers up. Yeah, that'd be good. Right, okay, hopefully I'm prepared for the next lot of questions. Number 14, show an alternative variation of an album cover. Well, this was easy, this was the first one that came to my head. Ozzy Osbourne, Bark at the Moon. And Ozzy Osbourne, Bark at the Moon. There we go. A band, number 15, a band that for you defines metal. Now, obviously people mention Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, which are all very good answers. But for some reason, when I thought of this question, this is the band that I was thinking about. And I think just because they were really consistent through the 80s, just kind of stayed down that kind of traditional heavy metal route, and it was Accept. And obviously here showing Metal Heart. Maybe the song Metal Heart was playing through my head, I don't know, but I've always got that playing through my head. That's like an earworm song for me, especially the solo, when it goes into the kind of classical metal solo. But yeah, I just kind of went with Accept, just one of those classic, when you think 80s metal, Accept has to be in the top 10, I would think. So yeah, that was the band I was going for. Okay, show your most metallic album cover. So as I was going through my inbox, I was just having a look of what I had, I found this. So it might not be my most metallic, because I'm not really sure what my most metallic would be. But I went for Snow White's EP with a really metal looking skull and crossbones on the front, kind of chromed out. So that would be my most metallic cover. I know it's not an album, but it's the size of an album. What's the next one? An album you disliked at first, but now highly regard. I wouldn't say I disliked this album, but I kind of struggled with it to start with, probably because I wasn't really familiar with a lot of the band's discography. But it was Bomber and Motorhead. So the first few times I listened to this, I wasn't sure about it. Finally got around to putting it, I've got the CD as well, so I put that on my iPod, listened to it at work, and you know, the songs just kept playing over and over, and it really started to sink in, and I love this album now. So Motorhead, Bomber. Favourite song, Sweet Revenge. Awesome. I love that song. I love the chorus. Okay, and the next one is an album you liked at first, but now disregard. Sonic Brew by Black Label Society. So I remember buying this, and I was coming home from the shop, and I basically put it on in the car, thinking, this is really decent, I'm kind of liking this. And the more and more I played it, it was like the opposite of Bomber. The more and more I played it, the worse it got, the longer it got, and the more tedious it got, and the more bored I got. So yeah, I never went back to Black Label Society after that. So that is one that I liked, but now disregard. And it's long as fuck. Number 19, a metal band that deserves more recognition. Oh my god, I've not pulled these either. Absolute amateur. Okay, I'm going to go for Salems Lot. So I think these are an LA band, along the lines of, well, they're kind of shock rock, sleaze metal. They've got names like Monroe Black, Tony F. Corpse, K, and Jet Black. So as you can see, Monroe Black is crazy looking, but they've got a really cool musical style. So there you go. Like I said, they've got a kind of mix of just traditional metal, sleaze rock, you know, kind of hair metal, but they're awesome. So there's this EP, 7-song EP, and they've also got their first album release, or studio release, Mask of Morality. So something a bit more fun. But if you want to check them out, check out the song No Choice to Love off their EP. It's awesome. So Salems Lot. I think that's the only releases they've got. And the last one is a number 1 Grail going into 2021. My Grails haven't really changed. Well, my top kind of Grails haven't really changed over the last couple of years. But I'm always on the lookout for Motley Crue, self-titled from 1994 on vinyl. It comes up once or twice a month, but I mean, it's about £300. So yeah, I'm not going to splash that cash right now. And always on the lookout for their first press of Too Fast for Love, the second press on Leather Records. So they're right up there though. I mean, I'll probably get the 94 album one day, but the two Leather Records versions of Too Fast for Love, kind of going to be out my range. Gutter Ballet by Sabotage is one I never really see, and if I do, it's always really expensive. And that's like the last 80s album I'm waiting on vinyl for. I think that's it really. That's the only ones that really spring to mind. The Legacy by Testament.
an OG copy of that, I wouldn't mind. I'm not too fussed about that because I do have the Rocktober green vinyl edition. So I do have a copy of it, but that's one that's always just seems to be out my grasp, or I get outbid or something like that. But yeah, I think that's my kind of, the Grails that are kind of coming off the top of my head anyway. So there we go. That's the 20 questions done. Hope you enjoyed my answers. Hope you guys are enjoying this metal tag as a whole. Maybe one of you guys can do it for 2022. And I'll see you very soon in my next video. Cheers.